Cameroon was officially ordained by the United Nations to take over its Bakassi territory, thanks to the diplomatic savvy of their leaders at the time, President Paul Biya. Both countries signed the Green Tree Agreement in 2008, transferring authority to Cameroon over the Bakassi Peninsula. To confirm its authority, and in tandem with the terms of the agreement, Cameroon has to provide basic necessities and infrastructures to those settling in the Bakassi Peninsula. These include decent housing, electricity, potable water, roads, schools, and even recreational facilities. This was the genesis of the Bakassi Development Project, with the pioneer coordinator Jacob Lekunzi Ketuma of blessed memory. Some 141 priority projects were announced to attract the people and to populate the peninsula. Amongst them was an extension of agricultural plantations, which is a strong vector to attract people.
So here she's struggling to inject solid fertilizers, in this nursery to have, good quality nursery that they will use to replace the old palms.
Situated in the Ndian Division, southwest of Cameroon, the Bakassi Peninsula is a hostile environment which scares people and even civil servants. Experts say one of the ways to populate the Bakassi Peninsula is through plantation agriculture, especially with the presence of a 6.5-decade-old agro-industrial giant.
This is the main nursery of Lobe Estate, located at Golo Division of the estate. This main nursery was established to replant this division, which is about 1,500 hectares. And the nursery has served the purpose. We've almost completed the planting of Golo Division, and the seedlings you are seeing here are to be used to continue replanting in another division, which is called the Penja Division. Conventionally, we have recombination of genes that have been done through controlled pollinations to enable them have high productivity. And the seeds are produced from such a process, which is a process of controlled pollination of selected elite male and female palms, which are used to produce the hybrid seeds that are used to plant this nursery. Our strategy is to have maximum productivity per unit area, and with the planting material that we use and the optimal densities of 143 palms per hectare, the potential of this material ranges from 15 to 20 tons per hectare if all the inputs are put in place. As a result of that, less environment will be filled for extension. At the same time, the oil palm itself is a high carbon converter. It sequestrates carbon, and as a result, it helps in mitigating effects on the environment.
These projects that are evolving at a snail pace were grounded because of finances, despite government's effort to create an enabling environment.
Well, as regards the buildings which are there, it was difficult to get people to accept to go to Bakassi. We put up those buildings. We put it on paper, we announced, asked for bidders to come and do the job. Nobody was willing to. Well, it was understandable because, as you know, it's a high-risk zone. Nobody wants to live with risk of life. So we're compared to as a special concession from the special permission from the government to allow us use Nigerians who will serve us as a shield to be able to operate in those areas. We have a program to plant, expand about 500 hectares every year. We have been doing 300 hectares every year because if we do more, it would affect the crop that we need to sell to run the place. So we regulate the replanting program. And also we have to, we plan, we also try to do about 200 hectares of external development that is out of the plantation, new extension. So that's our plan. So every year we expand by 500 hectares. That's the program. Internally, on the existing plantations, as I say. But the Bakassi area, the 2015, when we started, and 2016, we did, as I told you, about the 160 hectares and 150 hectares in Bosongos Basin. And when we were asked to do the second phase of the work, to cross over to Sangale, we did 222 hectares there, which are planted and already other infrastructures put in place. We intend this year to do another maybe 200 or 300 hectares because the target is doing 1,000 hectares on all. But we know that to do 500 hectares in 1 year is very heavy. And the program has been frustrated by this delay in the funding, which was programmed by the Ministry of Plan. From what they told us, that they were going to do the funding. As I said, unfortunately, this has not happened. So that is the plan of action we are taking.
The hostile terrain connecting Kumba to Ekondotiti and Mundemba through Bakassi further scared people to move to the Bakassi area. A major human factor that deters migration to Bakassi for either professional or personal reasons is the insecurity around the peninsula. Kidnappings have been the order of the day. However, have completely phased out organized criminal groups that hit for ransom.
This project is government, and the head of state had been so resolute to make sure, and his focus was that Bakassi must be populated by Cameroonians, and that's why all this effort is being done. And what we have been lucky to have is that the security has been quite understanding and cooperative. The B especially, whenever we go there, they make sure they go around because before we came in, there was very high risk of kidnapping. In fact, it was very frequent on that road. But as we came with the presence of the forces and on the frequency of the attend, the thing has subsided. I know that nothing can go at once, that it goes gradually, but the rate has considerably reduced. And People there are becoming feeling more secure than what before. That is why we were forced, when we were building those houses in East Sangale, in their camp, because just across the river is Nigeria. And that's how they could penetrate and come over very easily. So we were compelled to build the houses with armored blocks. That means that the blocks had no hole, no vents. Those are Cameroonian. Those had so that in case bullets hit on them and they wouldn't be able to penetrate into. They have the tanks inside there, because you can never know what can happen. So both the builders, the military and the civilian houses which we are building are very well, very highly fortified.
Carrying development to the Bakassi Peninsula does not need any knowledge in rocket science.
Once the road from Mundemba to Sangale or Aqua is done, we think it is within the range of economic transportation, because we in Palmo, we evacuate our crop even from smallholders in a radius of 30 kilometers. Above 30 kilometers, it becomes more expensive to bring out the crop. But within 30 kilometers, and from here, from Mundemba to Isangale, is close to 50 kilometers. And the plantation is in between Isangale and Mundemba. So it falls in that range. So in that area, we have no problem with evacuating. We have no problem in evacuating our crop, provided the road is passable.
In 1967, Cameroon's first president, Amadou Haïdjou, commissioned this factory to mill oil from the large plantations set up as part of Cameroon's agricultural policy, the Green Revolution. Very highly qualified agro-engineers were trained for the job, which became the backbone of Cameroon's economy.
This is part of Lobe Estate, precisely Ngolo Division, where we started the replanting program in 2010. Lobe Estate being an estate which is already aging and has 70% of its plantation above economic exploitation, management decided that they should regenerate the plantation in order to enhance productivity. At this stage, we have done 48% of the program, and we have the balance to continue with the other divisions. Before now, yields here were just 5 to 6 tons per hectare. But now we are already moving to 6-7 tons after 7 years of production. And so it is clear that by the time we finish the program, we are going to have increased productivity. Our major problem is that we fear that our milling capacity, production capacity in terms of the mills, will not be able to accommodate the crop we are going to produce from this program. And this program was done by using government funding in 2010. It takes 25 years. But sometimes we carry it up to say 28, 30 years because of difficulties in financing. But when the government came in, we were able to do this 1,500 hectares easily. And so we are still appealing that in the other programs which we have, we still need assistance from the government to be able to do it, because it's quite expensive to carry out replanting programs and new expansions.
Senior Research and Development Officer, Dr. Etar.
When we want to germinate seeds, we go to the fresh seed store, we test germination percentage, and it's about 90%. We get that particular batch of seed and it goes into heat treatment for us to break dormancy. To break dormancy of oil palm seeds, we use heat at a temperature of 39 degrees plus or minus 31 plus or minus 1 degree centigrade, averagely 40 degrees centigrade for for a minimum of 40 days. Sometimes it can extend up to 80 days depending on fluctuation in electrical power. But since we're in a remote area where we normally have light failures, we take precaution and heat treat our seeds for 80 days. After that, these seeds are remoistened to bring the moisture content to about 18 degrees centigrade, and they are tied, and after 2 weeks they start germinating. A batch of seed, averagely, if the seeds are well heat treated, can have a germination percentage of about 90%. And these germinated seeds are used by the company in replanting our old plantations and for our extensions. And also, the seeds are used by smallholders who intend to go into the oil palm business. In fact, this department is structured into research aspect and seed processing aspect. The results of the research aspect of the department is used to produce seeds in the seed processing section. And in producing these seeds, we have what we call seed parent palms that are selected from research results. And these seed parent palms are classified according to their productivity and according to their fruit forms. We have female seed parent palms that are called duras, and male seed parent palms that are called pisciferas. When you cross these elite duras and pisciferas, you have what is called tenera, which is the commercial material that is required by everybody. So it's the seed production bunches that come as a result of a cross between the dura and the piscifera that are being processed for seed production. In processing the seeds, the bunches are harvested, maintaining their identity, and they are washed somehow. I would say they are depericapped, that is the mesocarp of the seed is removed so that you have only the nut. After that, this nut is treated with fungicides to prevent attack from fungal infections, then stored in a cold room at 22 degrees centigrade.
Cameroon had nothing to pride itself of immediately it gained independence from its colonial masters. Like Malaysia, which has no subsoil capacity, Cameroon needed to depend on agriculture for its survival. Amongst its successes, the oil palm plantation, otherwise referred to as the Red Gold.
In India, we have close to, I think about 300 or 400 smallholders. Don't be surprised, in Lobé, we have over 900 smallholders. And so it's a sector which is quite developed in palm oil. We try to encourage smallholding activities we want participatory development so that we inject income to the surrounding village inhabitants to also make them improve on their economic might. So it is a very big project which the government, the Ministry of Agriculture, has recognized and are encouraging us to vulgarize this sector by trying to give subsidies for our research center. Because we know our research center is one of the international centers that produces seeds that we distribute to farmers. Those who are farming here at subsidized rates, because we give them subsidies on that subsidized rates, and we sell internationally from all over the world those who are in this culture.
Opening up 10,000 hectares of palm plantations in the Bakassi area like the one will mean providing at least 2,500 jobs to Cameroonians.
Palm is the life of television. There's no other enterprise of this magnitude which caters for the economy. Because we inject, let me tell you, we inject close to 800 million francs every month. Just for salaries, for payment of salaries, for payment of smallholders, payment of small bills of suppliers, and other small jobs and so forth. So it's a lot of money in the area. That's something that we cannot do. We are very thankful to the government for the support that they're giving to palm oil, to make palm oil grow from strength to strength. I think it's something to applaud.
Plantation agriculture is the only employer that provides job in all fields of work, from agro-engineers, managers, mechanical engineers, accountants, marketers, communication, doctors and nurses, electrical engineers, drivers, pilots, meteorologists, and clericals. That notwithstanding, managing manpower from different professional backgrounds is not an easy job for these HRA experts.
Human resources is very peculiar because we are not dealing with machines, we are dealing with people. And people or human beings are very not complex but complicated. So we need a diverse approach when dealing with them. So in effect, just like you put it, the department is very challenging because dealing with people is not easy. Now, with regards to setting our company, we Palm Oil Plantations, the PLC, we have a manpower capacity of about 2,224 workers. That is workers directly involved in our company, our check roll. And we have workers who are not directly involved in palm oil but are pending with us. We call them jobbers. So we have about 1,100 of them. So generally speaking, we have about 3,000 plus workers who are under our employ. Now, you must all understand, like any other unit, excuse me, we must meet up with the wage bill, production, and the wage bill, personnel management. Now, we have as cost about 280 million francs monthly to be able to remunerate these persons. It's quite challenging because you must also understand that we are in a seasonal crop. We have peak periods, peak seasons, and we have trough. So it also reflects our finances. But when it comes to remuneration, it must be constant. That alone places a steep challenge on the operations of the company. So, but we on our own end, of course with the help of the efforts of the government, we always make sure that these objectives are met.
A panoramic view of oil mill reminds Cameroonians of its age. It was set up 50 years ago to extract oil from palm nuts. Meeting the demands from domestic and foreign buyers will mean doubling milling capacity.
Looking at the present state of the mill is quite old, and with our expansion to other areas like Mosengisere and Dimanyanga, the Bakassi area, it will require us getting a new mill because since these factories are virtually old, they may not cope with the volume of crop that will be coming from these new plantations when they are in full production. It would interest you to know that the Lobe oil palm mill, which is a 15 tons per hour mill, was commissioned on the 11th of April 1967 by the then President Amadou Ahidjo.
This mechanical engineer takes us for a walk through the mill. Another sector which attracts skilled manpower is the health sector in plantations. And if the Bakassi project should attract people, it must learn from the existence and experience of this health facility in Lobe Estate commissioned by EML and Delhi, and to care for the health of workers and those around native dwellings.
The hospital was opened in 4th of December 1956 as a welfare service to the workers, but this is a service which is now open to all, not just workers but anyone coming from outside, whether worker or non-worker. It is a service now which is for the general population, and sometimes we even receive patients from very far out, including from Kumba. We have specialized units which are maternity, which has 2 maternity beds. We have a major operating theatre and a minor surgical theatre. We have also medical and surgical wards. We have a female medical, a male medical ward, a pediatric ward, and private wards, with a total staff strength of 54. Cases which we cannot handle, normally we refer by ambulance to Kumba. It is a very difficult task because, especially during the rainy seasons, in which period the roads are very unpredictable.
Cameroon's Vision 2035 subscribes second-generation agriculture as one of the driving forces of its economy. With more than 8.5 million hectares of expansive and cultivable land lying fallow, it could be the only thing to bail the economy out from hardship. And not just agriculture, but plantation agriculture.
Simon Nang, Lombe Nangai Boko, Sakaka,